But yeah, I think now's probably my time. I'm going to do my predictions for this division, the NFC South. And yeah, I think this division is going to be interesting, but for the wrong reasons. I think there's a lot of rebuilding going on here, a lot of uncertainty with all these teams. But in terms of who's going to compete, it seemed like for a while that the Buccaneers were going to be the ones rebuilding, but with Brady doing another run at it, there's Kyle Pitts. Now that they're definitely going to stick in win-now mode. You have Sean Payton leaving the New Orleans Saints, so with that, they're kind of in a little bit of a rebuild. Defensively, they're very strong, but offensively, they got some questions. I mean, is Jameis the guy, or oh my gosh, he was open. Is Jameis the guy for them? Are they going to go a different route? I mean, I think Taysom Hill still plays for them. So, like, is that an option for them, or what? I mean, there's just kind of a lot of question marks with that team. I mean, Atlanta, Matt Ryan is gone now. They're kind of trying to start a new regime here. The Dan Quinn situation, I think, is in the past. So, what is their, upside here as we move into another regime change for them? Yeah, and then yeah, it's just going to be interesting in that regard of what's going to happen there. And then Carolina as well. You have the Baker Mayfield season debut coming up. Oh, my goodness. Ugh. This pass rush is all over me right now. I can't even get the ball out. Now I'm going to punt it. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. 3 teams with regime change and new looks coming into this season in one way or another. I mean, New Orleans at least had Jameis last year, and it was kind of an interesting experiment. But, they have a new head coach now. They got a new direction. They're going in. And then, obviously, Carolina and Atlanta have been rebuilding for the past couple of seasons. So it's going to be interesting. But where do I have these teams ranked, and what do I predict their records are going to be? Let's go into it. In 4th place, this may surprise some people, but I think it's going to be the Carolina Panthers. I think they've just gotten worse in terms of defense. They lost Hassan Reddick. They don't have necessarily the defensive prowess that they had in previous seasons. Oh, my goodness, turn around. But, yeah, I'm not really sold on them very much. Not as much upside, in my opinion, for Carolina. Definitely in a rebuild situation. They're going to try the Baker thing out. I mean, I think getting Baker for them was probably not the worst decision ever. I was higher on Darnold, honestly, than Baker, but I was wrong on that. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with it. I don't know. I mean, this team may be able to slide into 3rd place, 2nd place in this division, but I don't think it's very likely. I think low end, they're going to win 4 games. High end, maybe 9 or 10. I'd say 8 or 9 is more likely. So, like, I go 8 on the high end, 4 on the low end for this team. Just not super excited in Carolina this season all that much. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. And, I mean, I talked about them, obviously, when I played that game a few weeks back, so you can watch that to get more of an in-depth thing with them. But, oh, my goodness, pick the ball. But, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a weird situation there. Not a lot of hope, not a lot of excitement for the Panthers, unfortunately. Then 3rd place, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. And I think them and Carolina are pretty close. And I think, if Carolina ends up being better, I'll eat my words on it. Oh, my goodness. Wow. But I'll eat my words on that if it ends up being the case. But I don't know. I just for some reason I'm a little bit higher on Atlanta. Honestly, I mean, yeah, they're completely gutting their team, but they got a lot of young talent. I mean, they are missing Ridley, but they do have Kyle Pitts. They do have some weapons offensively. Some younger guys I think could be interesting. So, I mean, I could see Carolina being better this season than Atlanta for sure. But I mean, I'm just kind of going with a ballsy pick because they're younger. They're a little bit more exciting in that way. They've kind of moved on from the 28-3 era, the Dan Quinn era, and they've kind of turned a new leaf. So hopefully they can, get it going. But yeah, I think Atlanta could be interesting this season for sure. And I'd say the low end for Atlanta, probably like 3 or 4 games. High end, probably around the same 8 or 9. I mean, honestly, you could go either way with Carolina and Atlanta. I think they're in very similar situations to one another. So I could say that, they're probably about the same. I'd say 4 games to 8 games for Atlanta, maybe 9 games. If they make a ballsy run, but I don't even think it'll be that much, to be honest. But that's probably my range I'd put them at. Second place in the division is going to be the New Orleans Saints, man. I don't think they're in as bad of a position as... Oh, my goodness. I don't think they're in as bad of a position as many people think they are. I mean, defensively, they're still pretty good. They still got, like, Cam Jordan, and, they picked up Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore. They got an interesting squad there defensively. And then offensively, we'll see what Jameis can do. Everybody knows he can throw a lot of touchdowns and throw a lot of turnovers, so hopefully that's something that they can work on. And then obviously they still have Kamara and Mike Thomas, and they got Chris Olave, so they got an interesting roster, man. I don't think that it's that crazy to say that this team couldn't make a run. But again, they are rebuilding. They are trying to figure some things out, so it's not like as much of a done deal as maybe it could be. But I don't know. I do like this New Orleans team. I mean, they always give people fits. They always play teams hard, so I don't think it's crazy to say that they can maybe make a run in the postseason. But going on, and as for games for them, I could say low end like six games if they really just blow up, which is possible. But high end, I would say, the high end for them would be like 10 or 11 games. Honestly, if they just come out and completely storm the barn with a first-year coach, which has happened in the past, so I don't think it's crazy, but I'd say 10 games for them. Now, for the number 1 team in this division, it's the, reigning champs of this division, Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they're still going for it. They're still kicking. And they're a tough team, man. They play teams hard. They're defensively pretty strong. But, I do think this team is pretty interesting this year, obviously, with Brady being out there. And, they've got weapons. So, I think this team could easily make another Super Bowl run, honestly. I don't think it's that hard to wrap your head around that they can make a run to the Super Bowl and make it happen again. So we'll see what happens with it. What else I would say? I just think the run game for Tampa Bay could be a little bit more interesting than it is, but I think overall they're going to be a good football team, and a lot of people are saying Tom Brady's going to win MVP this year, which it could be interesting. Definitely possible. was in the running last season and the season before that and the season before that. So it really isn't that hard to believe. I mean, he still got it, man. That's why I was saying, like, I knew he wasn't going to retire just because I was like, dude, he had a really good year last year. Like, why? You got to play until you suck. Like, you don't want to. Oh, this better not be on us. Really? Oh my God. Oh my God, are you serious? But yeah, Tampa Bay though, of course, dude. But Tampa Bay, yeah, I think the run game could stall them a little bit this year. They're and I think if they don't win it all this year, I think that they can just say we won one championship and that's what it is. But guys are coming up on salary cap and they're going to be capped out, so it's going to be kind of a win now or forever hold your peace kind of thing. But yeah, I would say for them upwards of, I'd say they could even win 15, 16 games this year. I really do. I don't think that's crazy to think. They could win 15, 14, 15, 16 games. I'll say 15 games on the high end. Low end, if this completely falls apart, still like seven games. I mean, that's if they completely fail. That's a complete failure. So, and I don't see that happening. So I think this team is in pretty good shape in terms of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, but that's my predictions for the NFC South. I'm going, like I mentioned, I'm going Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans, and the winners being Tampa Bay. And fourth place Carolina, third place Atlanta, second place New Orleans, first place Tampa Bay. Those are my picks for this year. I may be wrong on that Atlanta Carolina thing. I think I could be, you could flip-flop those around and I wouldn't really fight you on it, but I think those two teams are pretty close in trajectory.